Chosen one, you are not here by accident. This moment, this message, this encounter, it is a divine appointment. Something sacred is unfolding within you, even if you can't yet put it into words. Right now, as you watch this, you may be carrying burdens that no one else sees. Your heart may be weary from battles that have no name. But listen closely, you are not being punished. You are being prepared. You were never called to walk an ordinary path. From the moment you were set apart, your life has followed a rhythm only heaven understands. Trials have followed you, yes. Setbacks have tested you. People have misunderstood you, doubted you, even walked away from you. And still, here you are. Still standing. Still breathing. Still chosen. That alone is proof that God's hand is upon you. You were not created to break. You were created to rise. If you found this message today, know that it is not a coincidence. It is heaven reaching out to remind you that this season of testing has a purpose. You are not like everyone else, because you were called to carry something greater. And with that calling comes the fire of refinement. The trials you're facing are not meant to crush you. They are here to clarify you. To strip away what was never meant to stay, and to awaken what was placed inside you before the foundations of the world. This is not a breakdown. This is a breakthrough in progress. What feels like resistance is often the final stretch before release. What looks like delay is often divine preparation. Every tear you've cried, every night you've questioned your worth, every time you've asked, "Why me, God?" All of it is being used. Heaven wastes nothing. And neither will you. Right now, life may feel unbearably heavy. You've done your best. You've prayed. You've believed. You've waited. And still, the doors haven't opened the way you hoped. But listen, God is not ignoring you. He is shaping you. He is fortifying your spirit so that when the blessing comes, and it will come, you will be strong enough to sustain it. This is a sacred test. Not a test to break you, but a test to reveal you. Because on the other side of this trial, there is a breakthrough that carries millionaire-level abundance, but not just wealth in the bank. Wealth in purpose. Wealth in peace. Wealth in legacy. Wealth in wisdom. But you cannot walk into that season until your foundation has been tested and proven. God is not in a hurry. He is not looking for speed. He is looking for strength, for character, for depth. And that is what He is building in you. Think of this moment as standing at the threshold. You're not where you used to be. But you're also not yet where you're going. This is the in-between space, the sacred hallway between calling and fulfillment. And it is here, in this tension, that your true self is forged. You may feel unseen. But heaven sees you. You may feel tired. But strength is coming. You may feel uncertain. But clarity is being born from your chaos. Every great destiny begins in obscurity. Joseph was in prison before he stepped into power. Moses was in the wilderness before he led a nation. Jesus himself was hidden for 30 years before he performed his first miracle. So who told you that silence meant absence? Who told you that waiting meant failure? It's not true. Your season of testing is not a wall, it's a doorway. You're being ushered into something bigger than you imagined, but first, your spirit must be prepared to carry it. There are layers being stripped. Fears being confronted. Old mindsets being dissolved. This is why it hurts. Growth is not comfortable. Refinement is not painless. But it is necessary. And I know, it's hard to keep going when you feel like nothing is working. It's hard to believe in miracles when all you see are obstacles. But this is where faith is formed. Not in the light, but in the dark. Not in certainty, but in surrender. True faith is not loud. It doesn't always shout. Sometimes, it's the whisper that says, "I'll try again tomorrow." So I ask you today, will you trust God enough to keep walking, even when you don't see the path? Will you believe that what you're going through is not the end, but the excavation of your beginning? Because He is not done. Not even close. You're being tested. Not punished. And your millionaire breakthrough is waiting for you on the other side of this trial. If this message speaks to your soul, I invite you to join the movement. Like this video if it resonates in your spirit. Subscribe to the channel so that together, we can reach 5,000 subscribers and continue building this community of faith, power, and purpose. Leave a comment below declaring, "I'm ready to pass the test," and let your voice be part of the spiritual frequency we are sending out into the atmosphere. Every interaction is more than an algorithm. It is agreement. It is alignment. This is only the beginning. The journey continues, and what comes next will require your full attention, your open heart, and your unwavering belief. Let us now move forward with this truth etched in our spirits. You are not here by chance. You are chosen. You are destined. And your breakthrough is closer than you think. Chosen one, this moment in your life is not the result of chance, misfortune, or human failure. What you are walking through right now has been divinely designed. These trials are not general obstacles scattered randomly across the human experience. No, they have been intricately crafted and carefully tailored to your soul, your calling, and your capacity to carry a sacred weight. You are not suffering by accident. You are being tested by appointment. There is a sacred architecture behind every storm you're facing. The pressure you feel, the confusion you battle, the opposition that seems relentless, these are not signals that God has abandoned you. They are the markings of someone who has been chosen for greatness. Just as a master craftsman designs each piece according to its function, God has permitted these specific trials to draw out the depths of who you really are. He is not trying to destroy you. He is revealing you. When you wonder why your journey seems harder than others, remember this: the weight of your assignment determines the weight of your testing. Divine refinement is never generic. It is personal, custom, strategic. You are not just enduring. You are being forged. These tests are designed to activate your hidden strength, the reservoir of resilience within you that only emerges under pressure. They are revealing what has been dormant in your spirit, qualities that comfort cannot develop. Strength, courage, unwavering faith, these are not the fruits of ease, but of fire. Think of a diamond. Its brilliance is not formed in the light, but under the earth, beneath the crushing force of time and pressure. That's how true glory is forged. And you, beloved, are in that exact place. Do not despise the pressure. Do not misread the resistance. They are evidence of a breakthrough that demands a foundation deeper than surface faith. Consider the roots of a mighty oak tree. The taller the tree is destined to grow, the deeper its roots must sink. The same principle applies to your spiritual life. Each trial is forcing your roots to go deeper, into trust, into discipline, into unwavering obedience. And when your moment comes to rise, you won't be shaken by the winds. You'll stand because you've been grounded. This is why you must rethink what it means to be tested. Many believe that hardship is punishment. That adversity means God has turned away. But the truth is far more sacred: trials are entrusted to those who can carry them. God does not waste divine fire on souls that have no destiny. If you're being tested, it's because you're being trusted. And yet, the mind will tempt you to doubt, to question, to shrink. The enemy would love nothing more than for you to interpret your struggle as proof that God has forgotten you. But in reality, it is confirmation that He is working in you. Each tear is watering the soil where your legacy will grow. Every battle you endure is a lesson in mastery, over fear, over doubt, over limitation. You are not being weakened. You are being revealed. So ask yourself, not, why me, but, what strength is God calling forth in me through this? Let that be your meditation. Let that be your anchor when the fire intensifies. For it is written, these trials are not meant to diminish you. They are meant to elevate you. If your life feels like it's under siege, it's because your spirit is under refinement. And refinement is not punishment, it is preparation. Let this truth dismantle every lie the enemy has spoken over your season. You are not falling apart. You are falling into place. You are not being buried. You are being planted. And the harvest that will rise from this planting will not only bless you, it will nourish generations. So stand firm. Stand with clarity. Stand with expectation. This season has been hard, yes. But it has also been holy. And if you feel like you're in the fire right now, good. It means God is still working. Still refining. Still molding you into the vessel who can carry what others cannot. Because what's coming on the other side is not just a breakthrough. It is a release of divine abundance, a millionaire mandate that carries weight, legacy, and impact. If that resonates with your spirit, remain here in trust. In faith. In stillness. You are not waiting in vain. The testing is not over. But it is almost complete. And as you hold steady in this hour, remember. If you feel like you're in the fire, it's because God is burning away what no longer serves your calling, and the glory on the other side will not be small. If you have felt the fire lately, the heat of life turning up in ways you can't quite explain, if it seems like everything familiar is slipping through your fingers, then know this, you are in the sacred furnace. And no, you are not being punished. You are being purified. God has ushered you into the season of spiritual refinement, not to destroy you, but to reveal the masterpiece He crafted within you. Scripture teaches us, He will sit as a refiner and purifier of silver, Malachi 3 verse 3. The image of refining precious metal is not just poetic. It is the very portrait of what you're walking through. In order to bring out brilliance, the refiner must apply heat, enough to melt away impurities, to remove what dulls the shine, to cleanse what clings but no longer belongs. You, chosen one, are that precious material in the hands of the Master. The struggles you face now are not merely circumstantial. They are surgical. Every situation that exposes your fears, your doubts, your unresolved pain, these are not coincidences. They are catalysts. God is drawing them to the surface so that He might strip them away. What you are losing is not your identity, it is the weight you were never meant to carry. It is not uncommon in this stage to feel lost, even naked. You may find yourself saying, "Who am I without that relationship, that routine, that role, that comfort?" And here lies the miracle, what is being taken from you is nothing compared to what is being made within you. The false self must be stripped for the true self to rise. The you that is aligned with destiny, the you that is ready to handle glory, must emerge unencumbered by the fragments of an old life. In this divine fire, your soul is shedding layers that have protected you in past seasons but now imprison you in the present. Fear. Scarcity. Small thinking. Unholy alliances. Limiting beliefs. They cannot go with you into the future God has prepared. They cannot survive in the atmosphere of abundance. They must burn. And so the fire is merciful. This is not cruelty, it is divine surgery. This is not punishment, it is preparation. What feels like a breakdown is often a breakthrough in disguise. God is not just trimming the surface. He is uprooting what threatens your foundation. You may feel alone during this process. You may even question your worth, your calling, your direction. This is the wilderness between the old and the new. But do not mistake silence for absence. In this furnace, God is closer than ever. He is the one turning the flames, not to destroy you, but to refine you. It is natural to grieve what is being lost. Some relationships may dissolve. Some dreams may fall away. Some identities you wore for years may no longer fit. Let it happen. Let them go. As painful as it is, the divine is not robbing you. He is rescuing you from attachments that would sabotage your next level. This is the sacred art of surrender. True surrender is not resignation, it is alignment. It is trusting that the hands holding you know exactly what they are doing. That what is being taken is nothing compared to what is coming. Letting go always feels uncomfortable at first, the message said, but what God is removing is nothing compared to what He's about to pour in. Will you allow Him to do this work? Will you let Him carve away what cannot stay? Will you trust the fire to finish its work? You see, this stage is vital. Before strength comes purity. Before glory comes pruning. As Jesus said, every branch that does bear fruit He prunes so that it will be even more fruitful, John 15 verse 2. If you are being cut, it is because you are already fruitful. The cut is not condemnation, it is confirmation. So don't resist the flame. Don't fear the pruning. Instead, lean into it. Let it teach you. Let it break the shell so that your spirit can breathe freely. Let it shift your identity from survival to sovereignty. Begin to ask the deeper questions. What is this season trying to show me about who I am? What is no longer serving my purpose? What thoughts, habits, alliances must be released so I can rise? And when the answers come, when you realize what must go, have the courage to release it. Do not cling to yesterday's version of yourself when heaven is ushering you into a new design. Trust that if God is removing it, He is replacing it with something greater. The process of refinement may be silent, but its outcome will roar. Your character is being forged. Your clarity is being sharpened. Your spirit is being restructured to hold the weight of the assignment ahead. And what is that assignment? To carry the mantle of abundance with wisdom. To steward resources not for self-glory but for sacred purpose. To walk into rooms your ancestors could only dream of, not to conform, but to transform. But before you can do that, you must be made ready. So embrace this refining fire. Thank God for the discomfort. Rejoice even in the purging. For what He removes is temporary, but what He is forming is eternal. And once this fire finishes its work, what rises will not just be stronger, it will be unstoppable. Now that the unnecessary has begun to fall away, and the essence of who you are is emerging more clearly, what remains must learn to stand. And in the next chapter, we will witness the sacred power of endurance, the discipline of staying the course when the storm has not yet passed. Chosen ones, once the refining fire has burned away the impurities, once God has removed what no longer serves your destiny, there remains one question: will you endure? Will you keep walking, even when the path disappears beneath your feet? This is where resilience becomes more than a word. It becomes a weapon. A posture. A sacred vow. Understand this truth: every step you take through adversity is not wasted. Every day you choose not to give up, every moment you rise after falling, you are being spiritually trained to carry the weight of the blessing that awaits you. The breakthrough you seek, the millionaire anointing, the life of divine impact and abundance, rests on your ability to persevere through the storm with unwavering trust. Resilience is not about perfection. It is not about strength that never wavers. It is about showing up, again and again, even when everything in you wants to quit. The world may expect flawlessness, but the kingdom celebrates faithfulness. God does not require you to be invincible. He asks only that you don't walk away. That you keep showing up to your own story. Think of a stonecutter who strikes the rock 100 times, and it finally splits on the 100th blow. It wasn't that final strike that made the difference, but every one that came before. In the same way, your resilience is the silent rhythm of consistency that shapes your outcome long before the result is visible. You may not see the impact yet, but heaven is counting each step. Adversity, then, is no longer your enemy. It becomes your forge. The content reminds us that challenges are tools of refinement, instruments that sharpen your clarity, deepen your character, and stretch your capacity. What you once called a burden, God calls a builder. The storm you feared was sent to train you. It has not come to drown you, but to teach you to walk on water. This is why the mindset shift is essential. No longer ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Instead, ask, What strength is God revealing through this? What skill, what insight, what deeper compassion is being formed in me? In doing so, you step into the wisdom that sees through the trial into the triumph being birthed. And as the content wisely teaches, resilience is not passive waiting. It is active engagement. It is choosing to keep moving with intention, even when answers are absent. It is writing the vision. Declaring your affirmations. Creating space for gratitude. Preparing for the rain before the clouds arrive. Resilience works while it waits. And yes, gratitude is the hidden companion of endurance. The practice of thanksgiving doesn't deny the difficulty. It simply repositions your spirit to see beauty even in brokenness. Gratitude shifts your gaze from what is lacking to what is still possible. And in that shift, strength is reborn. But resilience is not built on willpower alone. It requires care. Tenderness. You cannot pour from an empty vessel. This is why rest matters. Prayer matters. Worship matters. Even Jesus withdrew to quiet places to restore himself. If the Son of God needed solitude, so do you. Resilience means knowing when to stand, and when to kneel. When to fight, and when to rest in the arms of the Father. Chosen one, when you choose to stay the course, even in exhaustion, you are bearing witness to the God who called you. You are saying with your life, I trust you, even here. And that declaration is louder than any sermon. It is worship in motion. When you are resilient, you become unstoppable. Not because the path gets easier, but because your spirit becomes stronger. This is what separates those who only dream from those who fulfill destiny. They did not quit. They did not bow to discouragement. They remembered who they were and who sent them. And so today, as the fire refines and the winds rage, may you find your footing not in what is seen, but in what is spoken by God. May your steps echo with stubborn hope. May your faith move silently but surely beneath the weight of delay. Because just on the other side of this stretch of road, something sacred is waiting. And you are closer than you know. Resilience may be the strength of your stride, but faith is the wind beneath your feet. Let us now lift our eyes higher, beyond the fire, and discover the force that makes resilience possible in the first place, a living, breathing, activated faith. If you have made it this far in the journey, it is because your spirit has been forged in the hidden fires of trial, and you are being prepared to carry a blessing that few are entrusted to hold. But there is one final key that must be activated for you to cross into the abundance destined for you, faith. Not just a vague hope or warm sentiment, but a living, breathing decision to act, to trust, and to move forward even when nothing in the natural gives you permission to believe. True faith is never passive. It is not merely sitting still with hands folded, waiting for heaven to open. It is a powerful alignment between your soul and the promises of God, where your life begins to reflect the reality of what you believe, even before the breakthrough comes. Faith is not about waiting for a sign. It is becoming the sign. It is planning for increase while you're still standing in lack. It is thanking God for the harvest when the field still looks empty. It is refusing to let your current environment dictate your expectation. When you walk in faith, you are not just hoping for something good to happen, you are declaring to all of creation that something already has. This is why the faithful are bold. Because they know that the foundation of their future has nothing to do with how they feel today. They move because the Spirit has spoken. And they keep moving, not because everything is easy, but because they have already seen the outcome in the Spirit. Many believe that faith is only about internal belief, but faith is not real until it becomes visible in your life. You must live as if the promise has already been fulfilled. If God says you are to be wealthy, begin preparing your life to steward wealth. Organize your habits. Educate yourself. Build systems of order, integrity, and vision. Do not wait for the miracle to appear before you act, because heaven responds not just to desperation, but to demonstration. God is not looking for those who are merely impressed with His promises. He is searching for those who will prepare a place for what He's spoken, those who will move before the evidence arrives. Every step you take in faith sends a signal to the heavens that you are ready to receive what has been stored up for you. And yet, faith does not protect you from discomfort. In fact, it invites you to walk straight through it. The true measure of your faith is not how loudly you praise when things go well, but how consistently you press on when nothing makes sense. The real test comes when the results delay, when the doors stay shut, and when every voice in your mind whispers, "Give up." That is when faith is most alive. Not because it feels strong, but because it chooses to stand anyway. Faith is the soul's refusal to be defined by delay. It is the inner whisper that says, "God is still good, even when life is not." It is the discipline of waking up again and again and saying yes to a journey you don't fully understand, because you trust the one who called you onto it. You may not realize this, but every act of faith creates a ripple in the unseen realm. When you choose to believe, you shift the atmosphere around you. The universe begins to respond. Favor begins to find you. And the resistance that once stood in your way begins to bow. This is why faith is not just endurance, it is power. It is the force that attracts your breakthrough, because it proves to heaven that you are no longer waiting to feel ready, you have decided that you are. The blessing you seek is already circling your life, waiting for the frequency of your soul to match its vibration. And faith is that frequency. It's not volume. It's not perfection. It's alignment. When your thoughts, your words, your steps, and your expectations all point in the same direction, you become a magnet for divine abundance. But faith must also be nourished. You cannot survive on yesterday's belief. Every new day brings with it new choices. And sometimes, the most courageous thing you can do is simply to choose again. Choose to believe when you feel broken. Choose to act when fear tries to paralyze you. Choose to rise when disappointment tempts you to lie down. Because each time you do, you are building a foundation of spiritual wealth that no man, no trial, and no delay can take from you. You are not waiting on God as much as God is watching to see if your faith will outlast the fire. And if it does, not only will you walk into your breakthrough, you will be prepared to keep it. You see, this is not just about receiving. It's about becoming. Faith is the forge where character is shaped, and only the tried can carry the treasures of heaven. A faith that has not been tested cannot be trusted. But yours is different. Yours has scars. Yours has survived. And because of that, it has authority. That authority gives you access to realms others only dream of. Not because you are better, but because you have surrendered deeper, trusted longer, and dared to believe when others walked away. You have stood. You have hoped. You have obeyed. And that kind of faith cannot be denied. It will break chains. It will open doors. It will move mountains. Not just for you, but for the generations after you. As you continue to walk this path, remember, faith is not always loud. Sometimes it's just getting out of bed. Sometimes it's choosing not to quit. Sometimes it's staying silent when your flesh wants to speak. Sometimes it's praying the same prayer one more time, even when the answer hasn't come yet. Sometimes it's sowing the seed you could have used to survive, because you trust that God will multiply it. And in all of this, faith is whispering to heaven, "I still trust you. I still believe." And heaven always answers that cry. Let your faith be the compass now. Let it point you toward decisions that honor your calling. Let it silence the noise of fear, and let it elevate your expectations. Begin to envision your breakthrough not as a fantasy, but as an unfolding reality. Build structures around it. Prepare rooms for it. Speak life into it. And as you do, trust that your actions are not in vain. Every moment of obedience, every small step, every tear sown in faith is watering the harvest that is already growing beneath the surface. And just as the tree grows long before it is seen above the soil, your breakthrough is maturing beneath the surface of your life. Your job is not to control the timing. Your job is to keep showing up, fully, faithfully, expectantly. Because faith is not about speed. It's about alignment. And when your heart is aligned with heaven, there is no force on earth that can stop the blessing from reaching you. Beloved, you have been walking by faith long enough to know that the path is not always straight. But it has always been sacred. And now, as you continue to follow the voice of God through this season, you will begin to notice something shifting deep within. A new clarity. A deeper intuition. A knowing that is beyond logic. That is no coincidence. Because the more you walk in faith, the more sensitive you become to the guidance that lives within you. Faith unlocks discernment. And discernment unlocks direction. And so the next step of your journey is not just about believing, it's about learning to hear. Not just with your ears, but with your spirit. Because heaven does not always speak through thunder. Sometimes it speaks through a whisper. A feeling. A nudge. A stillness that tells you, this is the way. Walk in it. And that, chosen one, is where we go from here. Your faith has carried you to the edge of new awareness. And now, your intuition will become the compass that leads you forward. If faith is the flame that keeps you walking forward in the dark, then intuition is the quiet whisper that tells you which way to turn. As chosen ones, your path is rarely mapped out by logic or worldly instructions. More often, it is drawn by the invisible hand of God and etched deep within your spirit. And it is through this sacred tool called intuition that God often chooses to speak. Unlike the thunder of circumstance or the roar of crisis, the voice of the divine is gentle. It does not shout, it whispers. It is not found in chaos, but in stillness. Content reminds us that intuition serves as a powerful compass, a direct line of communication between you and the divine. This means that your intuition is not just a random feeling. It is not guesswork or superstition. It is heaven's quiet language. It is the subtle current of God's Spirit moving within you, nudging you, warning you, guiding you, especially when your eyes see no way forward and your ears hear no affirmation from the world. There will be seasons, perhaps like the one you are in now, where everything around you feels uncertain. The plans you made fall apart. The people you counted on disappear. The logic you've relied on leads nowhere. And in that silence, a new language begins to rise. It is not external. It is not loud. It is born in the deep, prayerful places of your soul. It is the holy compass that turns within you, pointing toward God's direction even when everything outside says, stop. This is when you begin to understand, intuition is not the enemy of logic, it is the elevation of truth. It is the map that heaven hands you when earthly directions no longer apply. But to hear this sacred whisper, you must make room for it. You must choose stillness. Not just the absence of sound, but the quieting of your soul. In a world that thrives on noise, on instant gratification, on 1,000 voices telling you what you should do, your spirit must be trained to retreat into the silence where the one true voice resides. Make space daily for the sacred silence. Rise early and sit with the breath of God. Turn off the screens. Shut down the commentary. Breathe deeply and say, Lord, I am listening. Because when your soul is still, your intuition awakens. And when your intuition awakens, divine strategy begins to unfold. Scripture says, "Be still and know that I am God," Psalm 46 verse 10. Stillness is not passive, it is intentional. It is not escape, it is encounter. In the stillness, begin to practice the art of spiritual listening. As the content gently suggests, integrate meditation, breathwork, and journaling into your rhythm. These are not just trends or therapeutic tools. They are ancient paths to sacred clarity. When you sit in the presence of God and invite His whisper to speak, you will begin to discern the difference between fear and warning, between anxiety and divine redirection. Write what you sense. Record the nudges. Journal the unexpected images, the unexplainable peace, the quiet pull toward or away from something. Over time, you will begin to distinguish God's voice from your own internal noise. And when you obey even the smallest of these whispers, your trust in that voice will deepen. What once felt subtle becomes strong. What once was a murmur becomes a guiding wind. Because God's voice, once honored, will return again and again, louder, clearer, and more aligned with your purpose. Some of you may be asking, how do I know it's not just me? What if I'm just imagining it? But child of God, hear this: when your heart is surrendered, when you are earnestly seeking God's will, when you are grounded in truth and walking in integrity, you can trust that He will not lead you into confusion. The Holy Spirit's job is to guide you into all truth, John 16 verse 13. And He does so with compassion, with confirmation, with peace. That still small voice does not coerce. It convicts. It does not pressure. It persuades. It does not shame. It strengthens. Intuition, then, is not merely a gut feeling. It is a spiritual frequency that aligns you with heaven's rhythm. It is the internal compass that turns not with the winds of culture, but with the breath of God. To disregard it is to risk detouring from the divine path. To follow it, even when it makes no worldly sense, is to walk in the footsteps of Abraham, of Moses, of every chosen one who has ever trusted a voice they could not explain but could not deny. Beloved, there will be times when your intuition says, move, but your mind says, wait. There will be moments when the Spirit nudges you to walk away from a deal, a relationship, an opportunity, and it will make no sense to those around you. But chosen ones are not called to follow crowds. You are called to follow Christ. And sometimes the only evidence you'll have that you're on the right path is the peace in your gut and the pull in your spirit. And that must be enough. But know this: the more you obey, the louder it becomes. Obedience amplifies intuition. Action strengthens alignment. And with each courageous step you take in response to divine prompting, your entire life begins to arrange itself around God's purpose. Suddenly, you find yourself in the right place at the right time, not because you calculated it, but because you listened. And it is in this place, this inner alignment, that the supernatural begins to take over. Doors open without knocking. Favor finds you without striving. People who speak your spiritual language begin to appear. Resources come without begging. Because you are now walking not in ambition, but in anointing. You are not led by logic alone, you are led by the Lord. And that changes everything. So the invitation today is not just to believe in God's guidance, but to lean into it. To train your spirit to hear the whisper. To respond even when the instructions are unclear. Because the one who speaks within you is not guessing. He is guiding. And when you align your steps with your intuition, you are aligning your will with heaven. Now, as this sacred current of divine instruction flows through you, allow it to carry you into the rhythm of God's perfect timing. For what your spirit senses, heaven is already preparing. And what your intuition detects, grace is already in motion to fulfill. Because chosen one, when you trust the voice within, you are being positioned for a release that comes not a moment too soon nor a second too late. It comes exactly on time. Let the Spirit now prepare your heart for what's next. Even now, as you begin to listen more deeply to that inner compass, you may sense something shifting. Not only are you being guided, but you are being aligned. And with alignment comes divine timing. Not by chance. Not by force. But by the perfect orchestration of heaven. Let us now turn our eyes toward that sacred truth: delay is not denial. Delay is divine design. There is a sacred truth that must be etched into your heart if you are to walk as one of God's chosen: delay is not denial, it's divine design. Let that settle in your spirit like a holy balm. Let it heal the ache of waiting. Let it silence the whispers of doubt. Because when your heart is aching with questions and your eyes have not yet seen the fruit of your obedience, this truth becomes your anchor. Delay does not mean rejection. It does not mean that God has changed His mind about you. It does not mean your prayers were in vain. It does not mean you're not worthy of the promise. Delay means God is crafting something better, something bigger, something beyond what your current capacity could carry. You are not being withheld. You are being prepared. If you are in a season of waiting, understand this: waiting is not wasted. It is intentional. It is holy. It is where God prepares you, not only to receive, but to sustain. Because a blessing given too early can become a burden. And a breakthrough that finds you unprepared can become a setback. But when God delays, He does so in wisdom, with your future in mind. Sometimes, the delay is about building what only pressure can produce. Strength. Maturity. Clarity. Stability. There are things God needs to remove from you before He releases what is meant for you. Sometimes, He's shifting the people around you. Sometimes, He's making space in your heart. Sometimes, He's teaching you how to live without needing constant confirmation. Because when you learn to trust the timing of heaven, you become unshakable in the turbulence of earth. Think about the stories we hold sacred. Joseph had dreams of greatness, but he was sold into slavery, wrongly imprisoned, and left forgotten. Years passed. Delay upon delay. But when the moment came, it was not late. It was precise. It was divine design. Joseph wasn't just elevated. He was prepared to lead a nation because he had endured the training ground of delay. Beloved, you are not in the wrong season. You are in the refining stretch. The alignment stage. And God is not slow, as some count slowness. He is methodical. He is intentional. He is orchestrating your rise with eternal precision. The doors that haven't opened yet are not locked. They are sealed by divine timing. And when it's time, they won't creak open, they will swing wide. This is the moment to lean into active waiting. Do not confuse waiting with stagnation. Waiting is not sitting still. Waiting is preparing. It's refining your vision. It's sharpening your discernment. It's aligning your energy with the promise. In this waiting, pray more deeply. Listen more carefully. Move with spiritual discipline. This is not a season to quit, it's a season to fortify. Be vigilant. Because impatience can sabotage destiny. Do not let your temporary frustration abort the permanent breakthrough that is forming. Trust is the soil in which God plants miracles. And only those who wait well will see the harvest in full bloom. Remind your soul, just because I haven't seen it yet doesn't mean it's not coming. Just because it's quiet doesn't mean it's over. Just because the answer hasn't arrived doesn't mean the promise was a lie. No, chosen one. The delay is the confirmation that God is still working behind the scenes. It's the evidence that the blessing you've asked for requires greater infrastructure than you first imagined. Would you build a palace on sand? No. You dig deep. You lay the foundation. And that takes time. That takes labor. That takes trust. So don't curse the process. Honor it. You're not being denied, you're being fortified. Remember this, the size of your calling determines the depth of your preparation. And the deeper the foundation, the higher the structure. So when it feels like everything is being stripped away, when your roots are being driven deep into discomfort, rejoice. Because the elevation that's coming demands that you are unshakable. And God only delays when the blessing is worth the wait. So, what should you do while you wait? You remain faithful. You steward what you've already been given. You declare God's goodness, not just when He delivers, but while He delays. You don't let your worship depend on results. You let it flow from relationship. You don't praise because you've received. You praise because you trust. Because praise in the delay is pure. It is prophetic. It says, God, I know you're good even when I can't trace your hand. It says, I choose to believe your promise even when my reality contradicts it. That kind of faith moves heaven. That kind of trust builds empires. That kind of worship prepares you for your millionaire breakthrough. Let this moment be your declaration, I will not rush what God is doing. I will not doubt because I don't see. I will not panic because it's taking longer than I planned. I will rest in the truth that God's timing is perfect, even when it's inconvenient. I will embrace the sacred stillness, knowing that divine design often moves in silence. And let us remember, time in God's hands is not like time in ours. We operate in minutes and months. God works in seasons and purposes. He is never early. He is never late. He is always right on time. So if the doors are still shut, if the finances haven't flowed, if the connections haven't appeared, do not grow weary. Keep building. Keep listening. Keep preparing. Because when God decides the hour has come, your life will shift in an instant. Everything that felt stuck will suddenly move. Everything that felt dead will suddenly resurrect. And it won't be because you forced it. It will be because you waited well. This is the assurance of divine timing. What's meant for you will never miss you, if you're willing to wait in faith. And so I say to you now, in the stillness between promise and fulfillment, rest your anxious thoughts. Anchor your heart in peace. And let God be God. He is working all things together. The delay is not punishment. It is preparation. It is precision. It is divine design. Hold your position, chosen one. Your appointed hour draws near. And now, with your spirit anchored in trust, with your heart aligned to the perfect rhythm of heaven's timing, we move toward the culmination. Because if everything has been leading to this, then the next breath you take could be the one that unlocks it all. Let us step forward into the final revelation. Let us pause and acknowledge where you are standing right now, not in the middle of just another storm, but at the edge of breakthrough. At this very moment, you are not lost, delayed, or forgotten. You are in the final test. Yes, this season, as intense and consuming as it may feel, is not meant to destroy you. It is the final stretch before your millionaire breakthrough. The last pressure before the release. The last fire before the gold is revealed. You may have asked yourself, why is it taking so long? Why do I still feel stuck? Haven't I endured enough? But I say to you now, this is not punishment. This is positioning. God is not delaying your blessing, He's refining your capacity to hold it. Every tear, every closed door, every sleepless night has not been wasted. It has been working behind the scenes to align your character with the calling. And today, I need you to understand something sacred: the greatest breakthroughs always come right after the fiercest tests. This test you are facing is not just about money. It's about identity. It's about integrity. It's about whether your soul is ready to carry the responsibility that comes with the abundance. Because God is not interested in simply making you rich, He's preparing to make you unshakable. What He wants to entrust you with is not temporary wealth, but legacy. And legacy cannot be built on foundations that crumble under pressure. So let the process finish its work. That's the word for this moment. Don't interrupt the refining fire because of discomfort. Don't walk away from the battlefield just as heaven is about to hand you the victory. Gold that is removed too early from the furnace loses its shine. But gold that endures the full fire is purified, strengthened, and worthy of the crown. So don't fight the fire, submit to it. Let the Spirit of God continue His work in you. What He is building is holy. What He is shaping is eternal. Some of you have been thinking, I must be doing something wrong. But I came to declare over you, no, you are doing everything right. This pain is not punishment. It's evidence that you are on the path. If you weren't dangerous to darkness, you wouldn't be tested like this. If your calling wasn't massive, you wouldn't feel the weight. And if your blessing wasn't real, the enemy wouldn't be trying this hard to break you. But guess what? He failed. You're still here. You're still breathing. And you're still believing. Now is the time to rise. Now is the time to activate your faith, not just by thinking or hoping, but by declaring. So I invite you, not as a content creator, but as a spiritual messenger, to do something more than interact. I ask you to declare your faith with your words. Type these words into the comments as a public proclamation of trust. I'm ready to pass the test. Don't just write it for me, write it as a decree into the atmosphere. Let it be known in the heavenly realm that you choose to believe. Let the spiritual realm hear your voice and know your resolve. And if this message has stirred your spirit, if you feel the presence of God confirming it deep within, I gently ask you to support this mission, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and help us reach 5,000 faithful souls who are hungry for truth. This isn't about numbers, it's about building a community of warriors who walk by faith and not by sight. And if this word blessed you, I ask that you share this video with someone else who's in the fire. Be the voice that reminds them, you're not being buried, you're being planted. Chosen one, don't you dare give up now. You've come too far. You've been through too much. And heaven is closer than you think. You are not falling apart, you are falling into place. What you thought was breaking you is actually building you. And what you called delay was divine timing at work. Look around. Look within. This is not a time to despair. This is your moment. Let it sink in, this is your moment. The pressure you're feeling is the signature of promotion. The silence is the space before the shout. And the lack you're facing? It's about to become overflow. As we close this word, let's seal it with prayer, not just as an ending, but as a holy agreement between heaven and earth. Bow your heart with me. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the refining fire. Thank you that you see us, shape us, and sustain us through every test. I lift up every listener right now, every chosen one walking through the storm. Fill them with supernatural strength. Restore their confidence. Quiet their fears. And ignite in them a faith that moves mountains. May they stand tall in the fire, knowing that you are preparing them for something greater. May their words become declarations, their pain become purpose, and their trials become testimonies. And may the breakthrough you have promised come swiftly and mightily, according to your perfect timing. In Jesus' name, Amen. Chosen one, as you go forward today, go with fire in your heart and peace in your spirit. You are not losing. You are leveling up. Keep walking. Keep trusting. And never forget, you are in the final test before your divine release. I bless your hands to receive. I bless your mind to believe. And I bless your heart to endure. The floodgates are about to open. Stay faithful. Stay expectant. And above all, stay ready. Because your millionaire breakthrough is closer than ever before.